So this is the thing we have discussed. In this one, we have established the matrix A, and next one is whatever the input control vectors U1 vector, and U1 vector is nothing but minus KI1 into area control error. And similarly, U2 also we have defined. So U1 and U2s are the input vectors. So that input matrix is nothing but that this is the B. So transpose we have taken because of the space constraint. Otherwise, it will be a 2 by 9 matrix, sorry, 9 by 2 matrix. So two columns, 9 rows will be there. So because of the space constraint, we have rotated and we kept some transpose symbol here. This is the transpose of this. And next one is some disturbance vector also there, that is nothing but the f of t. So this is also, the size is same, this is also a 9 by 2 matrix, and transpose if you are taking, so this becomes 2 by 9 matrix. So this is the state space representation, and this state space representation we are going to use for optimal control of any load frequency control, load frequency system. And here, so these concluding remarks are very very important. In the optimal two area load frequency control scheme, the control inputs are u1 and u2s. These u1 and u2s are, we are going to get it from feedbacks. Now I think we have discussed about that feedback loops also in the previous sessions. So yes, now this is C. This is area control error. This is the actually U1 signal is given here. This U1 signal here, this is U1. How we are going to generate U1? This U1 is indirectly, this is nothing but the delta PC1 signal. Here also we have U2 signal, that is nothing but the delta PC2 signal. So U1 vector is nothing but that is the equivalent of X8 vector. So X8 is nothing but it is a state variable. How we are generating this X8? So X8 is nothing but this is the output of this integrator. The input for this integrator is area control error 1, that is nothing but b1 into delta f1 plus delta p tie 1. So like this we are going to form area control error. So area control error 1, and this is nothing but the area control error 2. So two inputs are there, so that's why, that is the reason. So we, sorry, so this matrix is nothing but, here this is nothing but the size is 2. So two columns will be there, and two columns, and input vectors are nothing but the u1 and u2s. So this is about this, and this is nothing but the disturbance vector. And by adjusting the feedback sessions, we can eliminate this disturbance matrix also. This f into w is there. So this is nothing but the corresponding to the demand and the system, demand and the plants. So how many demands we have assumed? Delta PD1 and delta PD2. So only if you are talking about the system itself, we can eliminate by taking some suitable state feedbacks. Now this is our beyond our scope at UG level, so that's why we are not going to discuss about elimination of this demand vector or FW, because as everybody knows that state space model is nothing but the x dot is equal to AX plus BU. But additionally, some FW vector came into picture in the two area load frequency systems. And how we can eliminate this two area load frequency system means, now we can adjust this state feedback locations. Those are nothing but the loops and poles of the state feedback loops. Now by adjusting them, we can eliminate delta PD1 and delta PD2 associated parameters. Eliminating in the sense, we are not going to eliminate that information, we are going to adjust with the some other states. That other states means we have x1 to x9 states are there. So all these x1 to x9 states we can adjust by eliminating this, by suitably adjusting the locations of the poles and zeros. So of course that is our beyond our limit, so that's why we are not interested in adjusting the state feedback matrices. So this is u1 and u2. Now in continuation days, now in this total analysis, whatever it may be the case two area control system, here we have discussed this two area system along with the area control errors. Means these area control errors are nothing but these are the signals we generated in order to adjust the frequency to be 0, and this delta p tie 1 or 2 with as per the regulated norms, as whatever the contract agreement is there, as per them. So we are going to control this, and we are going to control steady state frequency, or at least in the acceptable range. So means these are the things we have discussed in the two area control, two area load frequency system means. So indirectly we have taken the controlled concept. So this case is nothing but, it is nothing but the controlled case. Means we are going to control by suitably generating area control errors in area 1 as well as in area 2. We are going to regulate steady state frequency, change in the steady state frequency, and change in the tie line powers. So these two parameters we are going to regularly monitoring. So that's why whatever the cases we have discussed so far in the two area load frequency control, those are called as controlled cases. In the controlled cases, every parameter is nothing but, in this one only we are taking the change in the frequency, change in the tie line power. These two will be as per our contractual agreements. So in the same case, suppose we have one more case as we discussed in the isolated power system also, that is nothing but uncontrolled case. So that is today's topic is nothing but whatever the uncontrolled case of two area systems, uncontrolled and controlled cases. Already controlled cases we have discussed, only left out one is uncontrolled two area load frequency control is there. So this uncontrolled case means, now what exactly the difference between controlled cases and uncontrolled case? In the uncontrolled case, now only thumb rule is nothing but delta PC1 is equal to 0 and delta PC2 is equal to 0. What this delta PC1 and delta PC2 is equal to 0 means, now if you could recollect that composite block diagram of two area system, now that PC1 is the input for this summer. One input we are going to get it from the regulator. Now this is a minus and this is a plus. This is the signal. This is the delta PC1. The input for this is nothing but we are going to get it from the output of the integrator. So minus Ki1 by S. So this is a minus. The output is, it will be given as the input. So if you are assuming delta PC1 is equal to 0 means the output of this PI controller is nothing but 0. So output of the PI controller is, we are going to get it as a 0 means indirectly we are not at all giving any input for this PI controller. So that case is called as a uncontrolled case. So in the uncontrolled case, you need not make any feedback loop, you need not generate any error signal. So area control error need not be generated because the output of this PI controller is nothing but the 0. So when you are going to get this uncontrolled two area load frequency control means, now if anybody asks you to derive the expressions of two area control system for uncontrolled case means, simply you assume delta PC1 and delta PC2 is equal zeros. These are the two standard thumb rules. Now in the controlled cases what happens, this is not equal to 0, and what are the cases we have discussed so far, that comes under these controlled cases. But uncontrolled case means delta PC1 is equal to 0 and delta PC2 is equal to 0, as we are taking the two area load frequency controls. Now what are the remaining sections? Suppose what you are going to study in the uh, uncontrolled case. Now let me explain everything with the help of some whiteboard. Now, so in the uncontrolled case, first one is, this is the uncontrolled two area LFC. So first is, let's assume, let delta PC1 is equal to delta PC2 is nothing but the 0, since this case is nothing but the uncontrolled case. So what about the changes? So delta PD1 and delta PD2, there are two demands are there in the system. These are nothing but the stepwise applying the loads. So this load we are applying stepwise. So stepwise applying the loads to the areas. So these are the two assumptions. And next one is, so delta PC1 and delta PC2 is equal to 0 means, suppose generally now if you're taking the generator, now on this generator, suddenly if you are throwing a load delta PD, if it is gradually increased, so immediately what happens, now there will be a change in the frequency. So frequency will be decreased. If the frequency will be decreased means, who will sense this frequency deviation? Your speed governor will sense the frequency deviation. Now once the frequency changes, then that will be sensed by the speed governor. So once the speed governor senses means, this is in association with speed changer settings. Speed changer settings. Now this speed changer settings and everything, now we have discussed as a part of your speed governor. So speed changer, this will be like this. Now this is for raise, this is for lower the frequency. This is for the raising the frequency, and this will be coupled to your point A in the linkage mechanism. From here to here, this will be connected like this. This is C and this is B. So this is nothing but this is your speed changer. Now in this speed changer, whenever if you are throwing some sudden load, or if you are releasing some load from the generator terminals, now immediately there will be a change in the frequency. One we can observe that frequency, it will be sensed, and as per the requirement of the frequency to maintain within the acceptable limits, now the speed changer setting must and should be adjusted. Now in the uncontrolled case, now speed changer setting must be 0. Means whatever it may be the deviation in the frequency, now speed changer setting will not be changed. That will be remains fixed. So that is the case. Now in that cases, now in the uncontrolled cases, delta PC1 and delta PC2 is equal to 0 means, whatever it may be the change in the frequency, that frequency changes, it may be observed by the the deviations in the frequency, that speed changer setting will not be changed. It means speed changer settings remains fixed. So that case is called as an uncontrolled case. So in the uncontrolled case, the first thing is nothing but delta PC1 and delta PC2 is equal to 0, and the speed changer settings, the speed changer settings are fixed in the magnitude. So it will not be changed according to the changes in the frequency deviation. So uncontrolled case means first one is nothing but the delta PC1 and delta PC2 is equal to 0. And second condition is nothing but the speed changer settings remains fixed. So there is nothing, it will be changed. So, and next one is, so what about the load increments? So there will be a change in the load changes. So delta PD1, delta PD2 is nothing but that these are the two changes in the loadings in the area 1 and area 2 respectively. Now from the block diagram, suppose I am taking the only area 1. In the area 1, so this is anyhow, this is your delta PC1, it is nothing but a 0. So this is, it is coming from, this is 1 by R, R1, and this minus sign will be there. So I am keeping to this point. Then speed governor KSG1 by 1 plus STSG1, and then it will be given to the KT1 by 1 plus STT1. So this output is nothing but, this is nothing but the PG1. So this is the PG1 value. So whatever the input for this section, input is nothing but the delta F1. So from this equation, as we know that KSG1 and KT1 we can approximate to 1, and next one is nothing but TSG1 and approximately TT1. So TT1 is nothing but it is close to 0. So these two things are there. So by keeping these two conditions in mind, So this summary equivalent is nothing but this will be 1, and this minus 1 by r1 is there, 1 is there, ksg1, this is the case. And whatever the value here, whatever the input now, input is nothing but the delta f1 is the input, output is nothing but the delta pg1. So whatever the output now, delta pg1 is equals input delta f1 into, now all these three blocks are cascaded in nature. So first one is nothing but minus 1 by r1 into, this is the product of, in the denominator is nothing but it is also 1. So approximately this is delta pg1 of s. Now n is equals minus 1 by r1 into delta f1 of s. So you can call this as equation 1. And one more thing is nothing but, anyhow this is nothing but steady state analysis. Suppose if you are taking the steady state analysis means, now whatever the deviations in the frequency, we are going to assume at steady state conditions. So suppose steady state analysis or steady state response if you are taking, so this is nothing but the delta f into ss. So this is, we can say this as the equation 1. So whatever the required amount of generating power from the area 1, so required amount of generating power or incremental in generation of area 1 in order to meet the total demand of delta pd1 and delta pd2, the area 1 has to generate an amount of power that is minus 1 by r1 into delta f into ss. So whatever this delta f into ss, that is nothing but the steady state or that value in the steady state in the frequency. So whatever the frequency at the steady state or change in the frequency, so that is into minus 1 by r1 is nothing but that is the requirement of the frequency. So this is about the generation power. Now second thing is, so from the previous analysis, so we can conclude that delta pg1 of s is equals minus 1 by r1 into delta f at steady state conditions. So this is the, let me call this as the equation 1. And we know that delta pg1 of s minus delta pd1 of s minus delta p ti 1 of s is equals 2h by f naught into d by dt of delta f1 plus b1 into delta f1. So this expression also we have derived in our previous classes. So here let me substitute in this one. If you could keenly observe this total expression, now here what is this, d by dt of delta f1. So whatever this one, so d by dt of whatever this delta f1, so that frequency is at steady state condition. So steady state conditions means, what is that steady state condition? Once the oscillations are completely dies out or oscillations vanishes, then that period is called as the steady state. So if there are no oscillations, means it remains fixed in the nature, then derivation of this is nothing but it will be equal to 0. That's the same thing I am going to substitute here. So delta pg1 of s is nothing but this is minus 1 by r1 into delta f ss steady state minus delta pd1 of s minus delta p ti 1 of s is equals, this is 2h by f naught into 0 plus b1 into delta f, we can straight away we can take the steady state fss. So from this whole equation, delta fss we can take it as a common. So if you are bringing under the left side value, this is b1 plus 1 by r1 is equals delta pd1 plus delta p ti 1. So say this is nothing but the equation 2. Similarly, if you are taking the same analysis for area 2, area 2 also that frequency is nothing but the remain same. So whatever the value now, b2 plus 1 by r2 is equals, this is delta pd2 plus delta p ti 2. So this is your, let me assume that is nothing but the equation 3. Now next one is, so we know that delta p ti 1 is equals minus a12 into delta p ti 2. So just bring that information here. So this value is nothing but the delta PD2 minus A12 into delta P tie 1. So this left side is nothing but minus of delta FSS into B2 plus 1 by R2. So now after getting this expression, now on the right side what I am doing is delta PD2 minus A12 into delta P tie 1. Now from the equation 2, let me substitute here the total value, that is minus delta FSS into B1 plus 1 by R1 minus delta PD1. Now if you are simplifying this and if you are separating a terms associated with delta FSS and delta P tie 1. Now we are going to get two expressions. One is for delta FSS, that is nothing but the, in the uncontrolled case, during steady state analysis, the change in the steady state frequency is nothing but delta FFS is equal to some expression we are going to get. And similarly, under steady state operation, what about the changes in the Taylor powers coming out of from area 1? So these are the two expressions. So I think you people are following it. So I'm continuing by rubbing this. So what the expressions are we are going to get is delta, that is the change in steady state frequency is delta F under steady state is equals minus of delta PD2 plus A12 into delta PD1 divided by A12 into B1 plus 1 by R1 plus B2 plus 1 by R2. So these are the two expressions we are going to get. So this is about the frequency. So delta PD2 plus A12 into delta PD1. So how we achieved this expression means, in the previous case, if you are rearranging these equations, so delta FFS, delta FSS is equal minus of delta PD2 plus A12 into delta PD1. So A12 into delta PD1, A12 into B1 plus 1 by R1 plus B2 into B2 plus 1 by R2. Similarly, we will get delta P tie 1 of S. So what is this expression is, that is B1 plus 1 by R1 into delta PD2 minus B2 plus 1 by R1 minus B2 plus 1 by R2 into delta PD1 divided by B1 plus 1 by R1 plus A12 into B2 plus 1 by R2. So this, I think this is not correct. This is the one. So denominators are same, only the numerator will be changed. The numerator also, now see, A12 into delta PD1, A12 into delta PD1, here that will be reversed. So this is B1 plus 1 by R1 into delta PD2, and the next term is nothing but the minus of B2 plus 1 by R2 into delta PD1. So these things only we achieved by rearranging the previous two expressions. Now if you want me to solve, I will solve. There is absolutely, there is no problem at all. Now these are the two expressions. Delta FSS is equal to minus of delta PD2 plus A12 delta PD1 divided by A12 into B1 plus 1 by R1 plus B2 plus 1 by R2. And generally, now this equation is nothing but looks like very extensive and very big. So generally, what is our practice means? Now let's assume B1 plus 1 by R1 is nothing but it is represented with some beta 1, and B2 plus 1 by R2 is represented with some beta 2. Now if we are substituting that also, we will get some simplified expression minus of delta PD2 plus A12 into delta PD1 divided by A12 beta 1 plus beta 2, and this is the delta p tie 1 is nothing but this is also beta 1 into delta PD2 minus beta 2 into delta PD1 divided by this total value is nothing but beta 1 into A12. This is the same case, and next one is the beta 2. So these are the two important expressions we have to remember, because based on this we are going to solve few problems. So this is the two cases here: delta change in the frequency, and next one is nothing but the change in the tie-line power. So suppose just to take the screenshot of this it will be useful for you. And suppose what is this A12? A12 is nothing but the area 1 capacity divided by area 2 capacity. That's the same thing we have defined in the beginning of two area control system. Suppose if the two areas are same, if the two areas are same means capacities will be same, A12 may be equal to 1. So like this. Now you can take some approximation. Suppose if in area 1 only some disturbance is taking place, area 1 is affected and area 2 is steady state. If area 2 is in the steady state period, means there is no demand on this, then in that cases what happens, delta PD2 will be 0, means our two area system acting as single area system. So if only one system is acting, one system is experiencing some demand, means second system is under steady state condition, means that second system is nothing but there is no changes in the expectations from it. So two area system becomes single area system. The whatever the delta PD2, now delta PD2 is nothing but it will be 0. So whatever the steady state frequency, so delta FSS, so let me change with some different color. So delta FSS is nothing but, so delta PD2 is 0, PD1 is definable, so minus A12 into delta PD1 divided by A12 into beta 1 plus beta 2. So A12 plus A12 into beta 1 plus beta 2. So similarly, so based on this, so what my intention is, now you can take some approximations. That approximations will automatically simplifies these two expressions. That is nothing but the change in the steady state frequency and the contractual power. Now by knowing this, you can also derive one expression for T2 also, that is minus A12 into delta P tie 1. So if you are substituting this, you will get expression for delta P tie 2 of S also. So these are the two expressions. But instead of this, in the control cases, what happens? In the control cases, straight away this delta FSS is going to 0. But actually, how much it will be there? So this much of deviation in the change in the frequency under steady state conditions. Now this is about the uncontrolled case. There is no controlling mechanism here. So because of this uncontrolled nature, so steady state error, that is the under steady state, the changes in the frequency instead of 0, this much it will be there. But in the control cases, what happens, straight away it will be become 0. Now this we are going to achieve because of the PI controller. Similarly, that also holds good for delta P tie, that is the change in the tie-line power. In the change in the tie-line power, actually if it is isolated case, now there is no tie-lines, nothing, but only you have to ensure that this tie-line power is always within the acceptable limits of agreement as per the power agreements or as per the electricity contractual agreements, that change in the tie-line power must and should be there. So these also you can calculate by substituting regulations and damping constant. Damping constant is nothing but the B. That is, how can you calculate this? This is nothing but the reciprocal of the gain of the generator load model. So if you are keeping all these values, now straight away you are going to get, and at the end you can also compare which one is what. So if it is isolated power system, now that comparison also I am showing for better understanding. So I think this handwritten metal is visible to you all. Am I correct? So these all these things we have discussed. So here also now see, this is delta F is nothing but, is this handwritten material is visible to you? Now, if you could see here, now this is the delta FSS expression. Only that is a very simple. Now just now we have solved up to this, and if you are rearranging this equation, how we are going to rearrange this equation means, now see, this expression in this one and this one, only the common elements are p tie 1 of s is there. So you can equate this, and if you are doing some algebraic simplification, now we are going to get delta FSS. This is the total expression. Just now we have discussed about this. Delta FSS is equal to minus of A12 delta PD1 plus delta PD2. Now, second one is, we also calculated delta P tie 1 of S. This is the one more thing. So this is the delta P tie 1 of S. So that is beta 1 delta PD2 minus beta 2 into delta PD1. So vice versa, beta 1 PD2, beta 2 PD1. And anyhow, numerator may be different, but denominator is nothing but it will exactly same as your delta FSS. So beta 1 into A12 plus beta 2. So some approximations, like some assumptions you can take to compare or to see the difference between the first and second. If the two areas are identical, means the LFC loop and the ratings and the regulation value, and next the gain of the generator load model, and all these things are same in the nature, same in the magnitude. Then just now also we have discussed what is this A12. A12 is nothing but, this value is nothing but area 1 capacity by area 2 capacity. So these are nothing but the capacities, ratings of area 1 and area 2. So this value is nothing but the A12. So this is nothing but, if it is identical in the nature, this value is nothing but it will be 1. So if that is the case, then if you could see the delta FSS, so delta in the denominator what happens? Beta 1 into A12 plus beta 2. That is, this is there in the denominator. I am talking about the delta FSS. So A12 is equal to, this value is 1, and beta 1 and beta 2 are also same because identical. So that is the reason in the denominator straight away you are going to get is the 2 beta. And in the numerator, what happens? Beta 1 A12 into delta PD1 plus delta PD2. A12 into delta PD1. So here it might be A12. So anyhow, this value is 1. So I'm taking minus of delta PD1 plus delta PD2 by 2 beta. Similarly, you can substitute these approximations. If the two areas are identical, if the two areas are exactly identical, so delta FSS and delta P tie 1, now these are nothing but some simplified expressions. Now if you could see here, the tie line power is nothing but just it is resembles our fundamental laws. So delta P tie 1 of S, so that is, so this is your area 1 and this is your area 2, and whatever the contractual power it is flowing between area 1 and area 2 means this value is nothing but the delta P tie 1. So what is this value? So the demand between 2 and 1. So this is nothing but, here there will be a demand of PD2 and here there will be a demand of PD1. So whatever this total power, so output, and this is the delta PD2 minus delta PD1 by 2. So this is the equation is nothing but just resembles our fundamental laws. So the tie line power is nothing but delta PD2 minus delta PD1 by 2. Now, and one more approximation is nothing but, if the step load is only occurring in area 1, so automatically area 2, the demand in the area 2 is nothing but it will be 0. And if you are substituting these values in the steady state frequencies and the tie line power, so this value is nothing but, this is nothing but it is straight away it is going to 0. So remaining one is minus delta PD1 by 2 beta, and next tie line power is nothing but, So the tie line power is nothing but PD2 minus PD1 by 2. So this is 0. So straight away minus PD1 by 2. So for isolated power system, now if you could recollect the things, so we got minus PD by B plus 1 by R for isolated, for single area case. But in this case, how much you are going to get? Minus delta PD by 2 beta. Now in the two areas, so in the denominator 2 is there and the remaining things are same. And already I think we have discussed much about controlled cases. Only uncontrolled case only important here in this one, because based on this we are going to solve few problems, and controlled case is same as what we discussed in the last class. So let me go back to our some basic problems. So this is the one problem. A, so a two area load frequency control has identical area parameters. So just now what we discussed, there are two areas are there and the parameters are identical as shown below. So total area capacity is nothing but 1700 megawatts. So area capacity, and you remember these are nothing but exactly identical areas. So 1700 megawatt, and regulation is nothing but just 4%. So nominal frequency is 50 hertz and inertia constant is nothing but 6. So nominal operating load is 1000 megawatt, damping coefficient is nothing but 0.02 per unit megawatt per hertz. So these are the two formulas. So just now we have derived these expressions. So delta FSS is equals minus of A12 delta PD1 plus delta PD2 divided by A12 into B1 plus 1 by R1 plus B2 into 1 by R2. Or otherwise, this also furtherly you can simplify, because this is the fundamental formula and identical area parameters. For identical area parameters means beta 1 is equals B1 plus 1 by R1. This is one case, and identical in the nature means automatically this will be equal to B2 is equal to 1 by B2 plus 1 by R2. So here the B1 value he has given, B1 is given, so yes, damping coefficient. So damping coefficient is nothing but this is the 0.02 per unit megawatt per Hz. So B1, this is also equal to B2 value. And whatever the R1 value, R1 is nothing but only regulation he has given. This is nothing but just 4% is nothing but it is the regulation. So 4% of what? So 0.04 into 50, because frequency is 50. So 0.04 into 50. So that value is nothing but the 2 hertz per unit per, so 2 hertz per unit megawatts. So this is R1 value. So the units are very, very important. So this is 2 hertz per unit megawatt. This is the R1. So this is also equal to R2. Why? Because these are nothing but the identical area parameters. So whatever the beta, straight away we can take it as a beta. So that value is nothing but the B plus 1 by R. So B plus 1 by R, B is nothing but the 0.02 plus 1 by R is nothing but this value is equal to 2. So this is the value, straight away we can get. So this is 1 by 2 is nothing but this is 0.5. So this is 0.52. So beta value is nothing but 0.52. And one more thing is that is area capacity. So whatever the area capacity A12 is nothing but the area 1 capacity divided by area 2 capacity. So this is area 2 capacity. So whatever the value, that is 1700 by 1700. So it is nothing but the 1. So A12 is straight away we got that value, that is nothing but the 1. And next one is, and in this one whatever the unknown parameter, that is the delta PD1 is there. So delta PD1, so delta PD2, there are the two unknown parameters. Now we have to calculate that one. So something is given in the data for a load increase of 50 megawatt in area 1. Find the change in steady state frequency and tie line power in area 1. So is clearly mentioned that the change in the load, that is load has increased in area 1 only. How much it is? Delta, sorry, how much it is? 51. So this is delta PD1 is nothing but the 50 megawatt. So you have to convert this one into per unit. So divided by the capacity is equal to 50 by some 1700 megawatt. So this may be some 0.029 per unit. So this is the delta PD1. Whatever the delta PD2, delta PD2 is nothing but straight away it will be 0. So you substitute all the values in this delta FSS expression. So minus of A12 is nothing but 1 into delta PD1. Now if anything is, if I am wrong, you can please correct me. So this is a minus of 0.029 plus delta PD2. So this will be 0. So this is delta FSS steady state change in the frequency is minus of 1 into 0.029 divided by A12 is 1 into this is 0.52 plus one more is nothing but the 0.52 only. So this total value is how much it is now? So if you are simplifying this value, now approximately this is 0.0279 hertz. So this is the one case. So sorry for some technical glitch. So next one is delta p tie 1 is there. So delta p tie 1 we have calculated all the values. Beta 1 we have calculated. Delta PD2 is 0. So first term is nothing but straight away this will be. So this is nothing but straight away it will be 0. So because delta PD2 is 0, only the leftover value is minus of beta 2 is how much? 0.52 into this is 0.029 divided by this is 0.52 into 2. Now this is 0.52, 0.52 gets cancelled. Remaining one is nothing but minus half of this value 0.145 per unit. But what about this? This is nothing but the tie line power. So tie line power means it should be in the megawatt. So you have to convert this one into the, this is per unit. So this is 0.0145 into the capacity of this 1700. So this is minus 24.65 megawatt. Why minus? Because so that is nothing but some excess, some dip in the tie line power. So because of that we got minus. So like this we have one or two problems to solve. So I think this problem is clear to all. So second problem, the same exactly this, but it is not identical. It is not the exactly identical in the nature. So a two area system interconnected through a tie line has the following parameter. So area 1 he has clearly mentioned separately, area 2 also he has clearly mentioned separately. But in the previous case, now instead of area 1 and area 2 separately, he said that these two are identical in the nature. So identical area means beta 1 is equal to beta 2 and a12 is equal to 1. All these things happen, but in this one it is not like that. So area 1 parameters are different, area 2 parameters are different. So maximum capacity, so this is the maximum capacity, that is the capacity 2500 megawatt of area 1, area 2 is 1500 megawatt. Regulation is 2.5 percentage, and here the regulation is nothing but it is 3 percentage. So nominal frequency both are same, and gain kp, actually we used to write kps is nothing but 80 hertz per unit megawatt of area 1, and second one is 70 hertz per unit megawatt. For a load increase of 200 megawatt in area 1, same Again, he is asking us to change the load of area 1 and find the change in steady state frequency and tie line power in area 1. The formulas are same. There is no difference at all. And he is asking us to calculate the same thing here. That is the steady state change and tie line power. And here, but separately you have to calculate. So for example, A12 is equals, so what is this? So A12 is equal area of capacity, capacity of area 1. So that is 2500 by capacity of area 2. So 1500. So we will get some value here. So 5 3 ja 5 5 ja. So 1.6 something. So we are going to get A12 is equal to this. And second one is delta PD1. So step by step I am calculating delta PD1. So whatever the delta PD1, now he has given 200 megawatt. So area capacity is 2500. So we will get some per unit value. So this is the delta PD1. And second one is delta PD2 is equal to, straight away it will be 0. And in this one, B1. So whatever the B1 value, B1 is nothing but the 1 by KPS1. So 1 by 80. So this value, we will get some B1 value. And next one is R1. R1 is how much? 2.5 percentage. So 2.5 percentage means this is nothing but the 0.025 into 50. And after this, so how much you are going to get? Some 1.25 hertz per unit megawatt. Similarly, R2 is nothing but the 3%. So 0.03 into 50 hertz. So like this, we are going to get the values for R1 and R2 values also. And next one is what else? The remaining things already we have calculated. Now you substitute in these two expressions. Now we will get the steady state change in the frequency is equal to minus 0.0066 hertz is nothing but the deviations in the frequency. And next one is the tie line power is nothing but, generally we have converted everything into the per unit. So we are going to get the value in the per unit only. But whereas you are talking about the tie line powers or some megawatt in the range, so you better convert the per unit values into the actual values. So that is minus 66.9 megawatt. How we are going to convert this value into, that is whatever the base parameter you have taken. So that is nothing but the 2500 we have taken. So that value is nothing but if you are multiplying with that value, this is minus 0.0268. So we are going to get minus 66.9 megawatt. So once if you are getting the minus means, that is nothing but the change in the tie line power. So that is the don't think that never we are going to get the minus sign for the megawatt power. So that is nothing but only it indicates that it is gives the information about the change in the megawatt energy. So that is the meaning of that. And delta P tie 2 is there. So delta P tie 2, how we are going to get? So minus A12 into delta P tie 1. So here if we are saying this minus is nothing but the decreasing means automatically delta P tie 2 it will be increased. So that is nothing but like this, that exchanging of power it will be taken place among the two control areas. So here minus, but here that is nothing but the plus only. And one more important thing, sometimes the people may ask, what about the operating frequency? Whatever the operating frequency, how we are going to calculate the operating frequency means that nominal frequency and the change in the frequency. That is the under steady state range, whatever the change in the frequency, that also there. So nominal frequency is 50 and it may be plus or minus based on the expression what we are going to get. That is nothing but the steady state change in the frequency is minus 0.066 something. So 49.934 hertz we are going to get. So this is this frequency is nothing but that is the change in the frequency, or exactly the total system is operating at 49.934 hertz frequency corresponding to 200 megawatt the disturbance in area 1. So area 2 is nothing but idle. So there is no change in the area 2 load, but area 1 load is nothing but it is changed by 200 megawatt. How this 200 megawatt it will be shared between the two control areas means, now control area 1 will ready to supply 66.9 megawatt, but it will be a dip and area 2 is capable to supply 111.52 megawatt. And here, don't ask me the difference. If you are adding these two, are you going to get the 200 megawatt? No. Why? Because now the generation capacities are different, load carrying capacities are different. Now, why there is a difference between them? Because the system losses. The system losses are also to be considered. I think this type of problems we have solved in isolated power system concepts. Now, this delta PG and delta PD both will be different. Now, why there is a difference means because we have not incorporated the system losses or internal losses of the generator, turbine, and speed governing system. So, in view of this, there may be a difference between the generation capacity of the plant and the load on the plant. So, because of this, now, if you are adding these two magnitude, it may not be equal to exactly 200 megawatt. Otherwise, there is no much difference between them. So, this is the problem 2. And one more problem is, so third problem is consider one isolated power system here. So, just let me rub all these things. Now, third problem is, right. Now, consider an isolated power system with the following parameters. So that is nothing but the time constant is clearly mentioned, that is 12 seconds, and KPS is 80, and KI is nothing but that is 0.2 for a load change of 0.2 per unit megawatts. Obtain the time error in seconds and cycles. Assume the system frequency is 50 Hz. Now clearly you see that now this is a isolated power system. So this is a completely exactly isolated power system. It is not a two area system. So only one area will be there. And next one is Ki. So that is nothing but the 0.2. What is this Ki is equal to 0.2? That is nothing but the, so that single area only, that area one, but it was embedded with PI controller. So PI controller is also there. So in this case, what is asking? Obtain the time error in seconds and cycles. So that error only, that is area control error only, but is expecting in time, that is nothing only in seconds. So if you could get the seconds or frequency or anything, you can convert into the cycles. So this steady state change in the frequency with the PI controller. With the PI controller means, so if you want me to draw, I will draw. Just give me a second. No, just to clear all these things. No, in the isolated power system, isolated single area system with PI controller. So this is and this is minus Ki1 by S, and this is again a summer Ksg by 1 plus STSG, and next one is Kt by 1 plus STTT, and this will be given to this. So this is the delta PD minus, this is plus, and this is KPS by 1 plus STPS, and this value is nothing but the delta F of S, and this is 1 by R, and this exactly 1 by, this is the biasing parameters. This is the delta, sorry. No, this value is right? So this value is nothing but this is 1 by R1. So now any thing went wrong in this block diagram, can anybody respond? Anybody? Now you observe, you please keenly observe, anything went wrong in this block diagram? No. See, this is yes, this is nothing but it is a B. So this biasing constants, frequency biasing constants never comes in the single area system. So this is the this total loop, it will be wrong here. So whatever this one, so you have to take the connection from here and it will be directly given to this. So whatever the input for this PI controller, input for the PI controller is ACA. Whatever that is nothing but the delta F only. So delta F is readily available here. So straight away it will be connected back to the PI controller. So that's why you must be have a practice of drawing these composite block diagrams or single area block diagrams. Otherwise, you people will be completely confused. So this input is nothing but this is the delta PG. So in this one, if you could develop the transfer function, so that is nothing but the delta F of S output by whatever the input now. Input is nothing but you can take delta PD. Now the total transfer function, this is the forward path transfer function, KPS by 1 plus STPS divided by the total value. Now this is exactly in parallel to each other. So one where you will get 1 by R plus Ki by S, and the remaining one is nothing but now in these two are parallel to each other. So the transfer function of these parallel paths is 1 by R plus Ki by S. This resultant is cascaded to these two blocks. So that is KSG by 1 plus STSG and KT by 1 plus STTT and forward path, that is nothing but the KPS by 1 plus STPS. So this is the total transfer function here. This is the same thing I have represented in the slide also. So this is the one, KPS by 1 plus STPS into minus delta PD of S, and the remaining one is 1 plus KPS KSG KT into parallel path value. Now if you are substituting all this value, now approximately you are going to get the expression as minus 32 by 24 s square plus 82s plus 32. After getting this, you take the partial fractions, completely partial fractions of this expression, because he is asking about the time error. So that error must and should be in the time, or if it is in hertz, you can convert that one into the time domain value. So after getting this, you apply the inverse Laplace transform, you will get delta F of t, because this is in the Laplace domain. You convert that one into the time domain by applying the inverse Laplace transform. So delta F of t is equal, now for this some constant a by s plus a, or suppose 1 by s plus a, whatever this inverse Laplace transform of this e power minus a into t. So this constant times of t. So 0. This is the constant 0.5278. Anyhow constants are same in the numerators. This value is minus exponential of e power minus 0.448 into t. Similarly, for the second one, exponential of minus 2.968 into t. Now, after getting this time error in cycles, so this is the time from 0 to infinity. That is completely at a stretch from 0 to infinity. Now you are going to get. Now this value is nothing but if you are integrating between 0 to infinity, because we require the steady state values. So if you are substituting in 0 to infinity delta f of t, you will get the minus 1 cycles. So this is minus 1 cycles. Why minus means? Now means we are going to lose one complete cycle, because that PI controller, it will make to 0. It is making to that error is bringing to 0 means now it has to seize the sum of the cycles. How many cycles are going to seize here? Now that is only one cycle. So one cycle is nothing but how much? 20 milliseconds, that is nothing but 0.02 seconds. Now this is about few important problems, and we have one more important problem on this for an isolated integrated integral controlled power system, find the value of Ki critical. So I will share a few today's derivation through WhatsApp immediately, and at the same instant I will give this derivation also, Ki critical. After getting this, you try to practice and you just substitute the values here. You will straight away you will get the Ki critical value. So that PI controller is there. Na? In the PI controller, now what must be the gain of that PI controller to effectively bring the steady state error in the frequency to be 0. So that derivation also I will share, but immediately what I will do, I will share the information related to today's derivation. So that is the thing. And if you are convenient, and if you say yes, I will